things. You might think of them as the casinos, wherein the investing public is looking for a better future. And because most of these tokens are securities, that means that the storefronts, if you wish, or the casinos, need to come into compliance with our time-tested laws. And what that means is basically...
That was SEC Chairman Gary Gensler speaking to Yahoo Finance today about the state of cryptocurrency markets. My name is David. I'm joined with Robin, and we are going to break down Gary Gensler's interview with Yahoo Finance. Let's go ahead and jump forward to the next part of Gary Gensler's interview.
At numerous times, rules, security laws are in place and they apply to crypto. This is an issue of non-compliance. Why didn't the SEC enforce rules on the books? Could that have prevented FTX's collapse?
We are enforcing them. The Securities and Exchange Commission, I couldn't be prouder, and started under my predecessor, Jay Clayton, has brought over 100 enforcement cases in this space. And what we've said to what is largely a non-compliant field, there's about 10,000 of these crypto tokens. And then there's not just dozens, but maybe hundreds of service providers, broker-dealers. They might call themselves exchanges. They might call themselves other things. You might think of them as the casinos, wherein the investing public is looking for a better future. And because most of these tokens are secure.
Now, Robin, he mentions his SEC, or the SEC prior to his predecessor and him, have brought over 100 enforcement actions. You have cases against Kim Kardashian. You have cases against Library. You have cases against XRP. When you look at what he's touting as we've been extremely successful versus what we literally just saw happen with FTX, were they successful, or is their energy and resources pointing at the wrong direction, at the wrong people?
Yeah, what are they successful for? For generating revenue in the form of fines? Nothing has changed fundamentally when it comes to crypto regulation, how things operate here in the States. And there's just been a lack of clarity. I think that is the biggest word, the biggest takeaway for me of what sums up the SEC's regulation over the last 4 or 5 years is just the lack of clarity. Nobody's putting any kind of framework down to what they deem come in and register with the SEC. And I'm sorry, but most of the top crypto projects do not fall in the securities basket, in my opinion. Now, I'm talking about maybe 20 to 50 different projects. I think they're sufficiently decentralized. They are building, and if they're not sufficiently decentralized at this exact moment, they will be shortly. And these projects are what we talk about on a daily basis, things that we're excited about. The infrastructure in crypto that powers all of the fun ecosystems in finance that we're excited about. Decentralized identities. You have decentralized finance, banking the unbanked, the movement of value at a cheaper and faster rate than we have now. Those are all technologies that are here, that are powered by crypto, that are working. And yes, they were started by a foundation or a person or a company. Somebody had to build it. But let it out in the world. Let it grow. Stop trying to stifle everything.
Speaking of what we talk about on the show, I would highly recommend, if you're not already subscribed and watching Sin City Crypto, go to our YouTube channel, Sin City Crypto, and subscribe, where you'll find multiple live videos. We also do pre-recorded videos, shorts, and much, much more. Let's move forward.
And what that means is basically not using customer funds as many of them do. Their business model right now is offering the public, they say, they're purporting to offer them an interest return in crypto. 4, 8, 12, sometimes 15 or even 20% returns. And then possibly trading against their customers, trading ahead of their customers, lending that out. Anywhere else in finance.
So it brings up an interesting point, but what I disagree is he is lumping everything in crypto, CeFi, DeFi, exchanges that do lend, exchanges that don't lend. He's lumping them all into together. Where on Coinbase or Kraken are you seeing 8, 15, 20% returns, where the case is where that is not the return you could expect to see if you stake a token on their actual chain? Look at Kraken, for example. You can stake Polkadot. You can stake Kusama. Kusama, I believe, is up in the mid 10%. But guess what? If you were to stake your Kusama on the Kusama chain, that is exactly how much you could expect to get. And so, although I do agree that some of these exchanges that are rehypothecating funds and taking user assets and either lending them out or trading with them, that should not be allowed, right? So to that degree, to that statement, I agree, but you can't lump everything together. What are your thoughts, Robin?
Yeah, I think they should regulate exchanges, centralized exchanges. I think there is potential for fraud there. The prime example, FTX. You give people enough money and there's no accountability for what they do with it. You're gonna get bad actors. And if we don't move forward with some kind of regulation in place for exchanges, this is gonna happen again. History will repeat itself. And there's two avenues. You could have an exchange register as a bank or a charter bank to get protections from the FDIC and the U.S. government. Say if they did rehypothecate some funds in a lend program, then the customer's assets would still be backed. And then, the federal government would support clients' funds. That's one avenue. Second avenue is just to regulate the exchanges and put in maybe some transparency, some guidelines, and just level the playing field so that way this doesn't happen again. However, you shouldn't come up with regulation or come up with enforcement that is so broad reaching that it just stifles all of the crypto industry, including tokens that power ecosystems, because that's where I'm afraid we're going. So stick to the exchanges, leave the cryptos alone.
Amen to that. Let's jump forward to Mr. Gensler and see what else he has to say.
But I really do suggest to these intermediaries, these storefronts, these casinos, if you wish, to come into compliance, work with the SEC to get into compliance, disaggregate these businesses.
Isn't it weird that he keeps calling everything a casino? He's referred to exchanges as casinos now 3 to 4 times.
They're exchanges. They're no different than there's no different than the stockbrokers, right? Except for stockbrokers offer stocks, crypto exchanges offer crypto. Now, you can label FTX as an exchange. There's a handful of other riskier exchanges out there that we're assuming are rehypothecating funds. That doesn't mean that all of them are like that. They're not all quote unquote casinos, if that's what you want to deem them as. Prime example is Coinbase. They're a legit exchange that is transparent, publicly traded. They're not a casino, right?
What's upsetting to me is we keep getting this rhetoric from Gary stating, come in, talk to us. Well, if you guys remember, when Coinbase was planning to launch their Earn program, before they did anything, they reached out to the SEC to get some guidance and clearance. And what did the SEC do? They said, no, you shouldn't do it. It wouldn't be in compliance. To which Coinbase came out and said, what do we need to do to be in compliance? And you know what the SEC said? Nothing. It was crickets. Nothing was said. And so you keep telling people, Mr. Gensler, to come in, register, talk to us. Well, we have example after example of companies that are trying to do that, and you guys give no guidance, no clear direction. You don't give anything. And so that's the issue I have. Whether you like it or not, regulation is coming to the United States. The only thing we can hope for is its regulation that segregates and separates centralized exchanges from decentralized exchanges, centralized protocols from decentralized protocols, centralized wallets from decentralized wallets. The last thing we want and we want to see is everything to be completely lumped together because A, people don't understand, or because B, they just want the power. That'll do it for the video today. On behalf of myself and Robin, thank you guys so much.